So in this video, what we're going to do is basically look at the scenario where we need to kind of, let's say, set up a pivot table from scratch. So what I do here is I've got to convert to a table, and let's say, for example, I want to get a summary of the total by product line, and maybe I want to get it broken down by, let's say, for example, the date as well. There it is, the date. So I would go up here to table design. I would go to summarize a pivot table. Now at this point, you have a choice of either, automatically kind of Excel defaults to selecting the table because I'd clicked in it before I started. And you now have a choice between putting in a new worksheet or an existing worksheet. If you specify an existing worksheet, you need to click in it and then you need to click in the exact location that you want to put it. But in this case, particularly in the beginning, I just suggest that you go with the defaults, which is clicking new worksheet and then I click OK. Now what I want to do is I'm going to drag my product line down to rows because I want that to be on the left. I'm going to drag my total down to my values, and let's say I drag my date into my columns. Now you can see here once I'm doing this that Excel automatically kind of summarizes the dates into months. It does this in later versions of Excel. If you're doing 2010, 2013, not so much, but certainly it does. And if your data spanned, maybe a couple of years or quarters, you'd see quarters appear there as well. So what I want to do here is do a little bit with this data. I want to highlight it here. I want to change the format to euros. So I go to value field settings, number format. And the reason I do it this way is because basically once I do it this way, they're all done. So you can see even though I've clicked on one number here, when I click OK, they're all done automatically. The second thing I want to do is I want to add a chart and a slicer. So once I've got my pivot table done, I get this new ribbon up here. So all I need to do at this point, if I want to add a pivot chart, click on pivot chart. And generally speaking, Excel will kind of recommend something. And I have to say, in the spirit of laziness, I might say, click on this one or this one. Generally speaking, people don't recommend using the 3D one because you have more problems with it, but that's a matter of choice. And click OK. And not every chart that's here is available to you as well. So for example, if I come down here to tree map, all right, you see there you're told you can't do it with a pivot table. So you just need to bear that in mind and then click OK. And once I got this done, I resize it a little bit. And then the next thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to widen this out a bit. Okay, because generally speaking, what they recommend is try and have these headings, try and have them horizontal rather than vertical. I'm now going to add a slicer. So again, click on my pivot table analyze, and I go to slicer. And let's say I want to have a slicer for example, customer type. So slicer just allows me just to do additional filtering on the data. So I click on insert slicer, I click on customer type, and then I click OK. All right, and it comes up here then. Now, what I'd often do as well is I'd often maybe put the slicer at the top. So I'm going to click up here, and if I just do Control plus, I might move this one up here. And when I click on slicer, there's an opportunity to change the number of columns. So I can actually widen that out a little bit. And here we have it. Right, always a bit of it. One. Now, what I probably do maybe is that if I want to kind of format it consistently, I would maybe choose my slicer, make it green, pivot table, use design, maybe keep on that shade of green. And then if I come down to my chart, there's an option here with a little paintbrush that I could use to change the colors. Okay, so I might choose, go down to one of my favorite shades of green. As you might have gathered, I do like green. Okay, and that's it there. Now, once then I click up here on my member type, normal, resets it automatically. Now, the other piece then I need to do in this is the refresh. Okay, so let's say, for example, if I go back to, if I make changes to the underlying data, which is in my supermarket sales, right, this will not be reflected automatically in the pivot table. I have to do a thing called refresh. So if I go to supermarket sales, okay, and what I'm going to do this time is I'm actually going to go down to the bottom. So if I do Control arrow down, that brings me down to the bottom. And if you look here, down here on this bit, you can see there I've got like a little blue square, blue corner. And that's essentially where my table ends. So my pivot table is built up on the data at that point. So if I click over here, let's say put in a new row. All right, you can see there like a row expands automatically and the data expands to include it. So let's say I'm going to put in branch D. I'm going to put in City Galway. And I'm going to put in a new member. I'm going to put down new member. leave it on, let's say female. I spelled female properly, that would help. And let's say I'm going to put in a new product line. The reason I'm just putting the new data here is so that you can see, you know, when I do the refresh, it'll be easier for you to see it. Let's say 7. And then your date, let's say, keep it the same date. Time, leave it on cash, and then cost of goods sold. Now I'm doing at the moment, I'm doing all make yuppie. I'll just go with that. And gross income, let's say 35. And rating, let's say 7. So I have my new data, I'll just add in here at the bottom. And then when I come back over here to my pivot table, right, there's my pivot table. What I want to do is if I do a right click and refresh. Now, just bear in mind that if I come up here to data, if I had a bunch of them, I could just go refresh all and that would do them all. And there's a keyboard shortcut for it as well there, Alt, Control and F5. But I'm just going to do refresh. All right, I can see there straight away, I get my new member up there. So I kind of resize that a little bit. And if I bring this down, see there, I can just go to my new member. See that it shows me there on my grand totals and so on. Right. And again, it would be the same if you added on a whole new different thing as well. So I'm just going to use this then to clear my slicer. Okay. So that's just on that bit. On the next bit, I'm just going to show you a little bit about show values as and show some of the options around summarize your values. All right. Hope you find this useful. Take care. Bye.